The game is to be where you are, be it honestly and as consciously as you know how.
Watch the latest Ram Dass documentary film, Becoming Nobody, on Gaia.com.
Of course, there was fear in losing that familiar identity. But there was always also wonder.
The Gaia.com library supports you with transformational content. See it for yourself and go to Gaia.com/BeHereNow and check out the Be Here Now playlist, curated just for you. Visit Gaia.com/BeHereNow and start your free trial today.
Welcome to the New Growth Podcast with Nikki Walton. Join her as she explores divine love as a key to spiritual growth, empowered service, and inner and outer success. If you'd like to support Nikki's podcast, please visit BeHereNowNetwork.com/Nikki.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us on another episode of New Growth. I'm your host, Nikki Walton, and I like to start every episode with the same quote, my favorite Ram Dass quote, to remember to treat everyone you meet like they are God in drag, like they are happiness in human form, love in form. And today I have someone joining me who is such a form that is very celebrated, a very famous form that has written some of our favorite songs and sang some of my favorite songs. This form also doesn't appear to know how to age at all. Like she didn't learn that. For those of you that are not watching but listening, trust me that she is eternally youthful and she's very transparent to the light. Please join me in welcoming Miss Keri Hilson. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for those kind words.
It's all very true. I've always admired you from afar. I still remember playing Pretty Girl Rock like on loop for a very long time. And I messaged you and told you about my daughter. She's 9 and she knows every word to that song. It's like our little anthem, our theme song. So thank you for everything. Your canon.
Hey, thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
So I wanted to jump right in and just ask how you are faring in these very interesting times. Like, how has your life been affected by COVID, by social distancing?
I'm going to jump into my general, of course, I'm no different than anyone else. I've had to professionally pivot. I've had to pivot within the structure of my family because not only am I dealing with COVID, I lost my father in January.
Oh my goodness.
And so thank you. But all of the death surrounding it has truly affected and triggered me in ways, you know what I mean? And as we're grieving as a family and I'm trying to get over that. So I have to say that I am living in the now so much more than I ever have. And somehow it's allowing me a certain level of assuredness and peace and calm in all of the storm. And so it's helping me see, like, I'm only focused on all of the opportunity that this time allows.
Yes.
So I'm okay. I'm seeing opportunity as opposed to everything I've lost.
You're focused on the light. You're focused on the light instead of the darkness.
On the light. And I'm going to be honest, I guess some days it is intentional and you have to kind of focus, use all of your focus on that focus.
Yes, yes.
But then there are other times where I'm like, oh, it's just happening. It's just what's going on. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I'm not as affected as one can be right now.
Absolutely. No, you said something I think is very important about when trials come, when tribulations come. I used to look at it like I'm being challenged, by a higher power, by source, by God. Now I see it as it calling me to it more, because when things are so rocky and so scary and when loss has occurred, you want to be in that presence. You cling to it, right? Like that's, at least from my experience, it feels like it's a drawing you in closer to that love, to be comforted, to be soothed, to take you to where you're going to be of service next.
Yes. And yes, I found the same recently in my life. Like I go towards the pain. I embrace it.
Yeah.
I sit with it. I used to run. We've all been in places where
absolutely.
We were like, oh, that's a challenge I don't need to have right now. I cannot deal. I will
or
not
reach
deal.
For wine, I'll reach for wine or reach for my phone.
All the coping mechanisms.
Yeah.
Like I used to, find, and of course I've got coping we all still need them. They're still healthy to have. But like I go towards what hurts. Yeah. I do the painful, the hard things.
Yeah.
Because I see them as opportunities as well. I see them as lessons and opportunities for growth. So,
how did you learn to lean in? Because it's not a natural response to pain, to disturbing energies inside. We do run. Yeah. So what taught you to lean in?
Going through it so much, you become less and less fearful every time. Every storm, you're less and less fearful. And you learn, you know what? The more I resist this, the bigger it shows up.
Yeah.
I may as well just become its friend and say, hey, what are you teaching me? Mm-hmm. What are you here for? What do you need from me?
Yes.
Yeah.
So is that what it looks like? So let's say, and I don't know what your thing is. Like for me, it's fear. For me, it's anxiety. So like whatever that familiar discomfort for Keri is, when it comes knocking at the door, what do you do in that moment?
I assess. I think the first thing, I guess, I would assess. Well, what is this? What am I feeling? What is it triggering? What are the thoughts I'm having?
Yeah.
I assess. And sometimes I over assess. I will need to shut in, quarantine myself willingly.
Yeah.
I saw a meme recently that said, it was like, when you find out your lifestyle is called quarantine.
Yes, me too. That's me.
I was like, okay, that's embarrassing. But no, I will cocoon and I assess. And then there's a whole process after assessing and it ends with acceptance. Yeah. There's a whole lot of other processes, but you must end to accept it. And that's what I do when it's oncoming. For me, it's depression. It's relational issues. I'm very sensitive. I'm really compassionate and empathetic.
Are you a crier too? I'm a crier.
I'm not really a crier. I'm tough in that sense. Yeah. But I will feel.
Ah, I see.
I will feel. And deeply. I'll be affected, but just tears don't come out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you. I have always been very sensitive. And even when I'm angry, I cry. Like my crying, I used to see it as a weakness because it wouldn't matter where I was. Like the waterworks would come and then I can't really stop them, but I've accepted it. And like you said, when I stopped avoiding those situations that would cause like confrontation, I don't do well with confrontation. When I finally started facing those situations, now the tears, they don't come unless it's an appropriate time. But one thing that's helped me with my fear, with my anxiety, and I share this all the time with anybody that'll listen, no matter what has appeared to happen in my experience, whether I got an email that I did not like or a phone call, or I saw a scary headline, I immediately hear the words, and it's inspired by A Course in Miracles. I hear, you're not upset for the reason you think. You're not upset because of that headline or because your 3-year-old is screaming or because you got a passive aggressive email. You're upset because you stepped out of peace. You're upset because you stepped out of that natural love, that alignment. So you're not actually even upset. You're not angry. You're not overwhelmed. You're not stressed. You're not depressed. You are out of alignment. You're not feeling love. And when I started doing that, it was 2018 and everything had like crashed down around me. I leaned on that and it would just like cut the legs out from under every seeming issue. And I still use it. I still use it now because it doesn't matter what the problem is. If you just realize, oh, it's not the problem. I just stepped out of peace.
Yes. I love that. I love that. And then it allows us to take responsibility for what we can accept from others or how we temper our moods or temper the information or negative vibes or terrible news, like we can temper that
Yes.
and say, okay. And sometimes we know we're not aligned, and I'll say, I know, I won't say for you, but sometimes I know that I'm not aligned. I might be PMSing, I might be going through other things, and I will intentionally know where I can step, which path stones I can be on during that moment, because I'm a little off kilter and I'm not going to step in that. So it helps you. I guess I use a version of that, but I like how you articulated that.
Yeah, it's helped me a lot. I actually first heard it from Eckhart Tolle in a very obscure talk of his. And I had already read that passage in A Course in Miracles, but I haven't read that whole book because it is big and it reads like the Bible. So it's very wordy and it's like
all of Eckhart Tolle's books. They are not easy reads.
Yeah,
you have to read a page 5 times sometimes.
Absolutely. You have to read a chapter 10 times. But what I did find was I first read one of his books in 2013, The Power of Now, the most famous one. And rereading it like in 2019, there were parts of that book that I didn't even know were in there. It felt like he had added something because I had that experience in between that time. So it was like in one ear and out the other. The first time I wasn't vibing with it on that level, but reading it again. And that's what a lot of teachers, like Abraham Hicks, I used when I first came into some of their literature. I thought, because I was deeper into spirituality, I'm like, oh, she doesn't know everything. Like this is very surface. But then when I came back to it later, after I was deeper in my own spirituality, I could see that she was just meeting me and her audience where they are. Exactly. So we can't see sometimes what's there.
Right. And that's important that we have teachers who meet us where we are, like everyone is on a different level of, and I don't mean higher or lower. I just mean, I guess, a different path,
right?
A different place in their journey. Right. So, and
we're all headed to the same place. We got the same destination.
Sometimes I wonder.
What do you think? You don't think we're all headed, like we have one place, like that peak, that mountain peak? You don't think we're all headed to that same? I like to think of it as like enlightenment or like a remembrance.
Yes, I think we are all destined to yearn for that, and we are designed. Everything we have to reach that. But I have met some who I'm not sure are ever going to look inside.
I see. And I have experienced that as well.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not sure. Now, I'm not judging, but I think we were designed and made to. I think there is something in our higher self that yearns to ascend to this place. But I just don't know. I've met some people that made me wonder, like, okay, I guess it really is a choice. We really do have free will to, it's a decision to rise or to stay,
right?
To dive or to live on the surface. And believe that your humanness is all you're here for. I think there are a lot, there's some people. So I don't know if we'll all get there, but I think
we have the potential. The potential is there. It's dormant. It's dormant.
Yes, we're equipped.
Yeah,
we're all equipped. And some of us feel a stronger tap on our shoulder.
When did you feel that tap?
Man,
when did you get that tap? That cosmic tapping.
Oh man, no one's ever asked me that. I think I started to feel it as a child. I didn't know what it meant or how I should channel it. I just kind of had a knowing that I'm going to be of influence and I better be good. Meaning I need to be careful, move carefully. I don't want a lot of things to haunt me. I just want to be a good human. And I want to be known for that. And you know what I mean? It was like, as a child, this is how I interpreted the tap on my shoulder. Like, okay, I just want to be a good student. I want to be pleasing to my parents. I want to excel in sports and anything else I try. I want to do music. I would love to do music. I mean, I would see different things and I visualize different things. And I won't say any of that was my doing, but I know the power of destiny and manifestation. And so I think that was the first time, but I will say the strongest tap, the thing that led me into my journey of truly like understanding spirituality versus religion, you know, purpose, the big questions, was my depression, you know.
Okay.
That was around.
Which came after you after your fame, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, during the fame.
Oh, wow.
So at the height of like Pretty Girl Rock, I was depressed.
Wow.
And I think it was January 2011, maybe January, February, somewhere around there. I decided I needed a year. I needed to step away. And so the journey began. And I mean, it was a long bout with that. I would say first it was sermons and church. And there were just different things that like propelled me further into finding answers for these questions. But the biggest thing that I learned out of that, I think, is just that I am not my thoughts. You know, we see that, we hear that. I'm not my thoughts. These are part of me, but they're not me. So I can listen and observe them, and I can choose to believe them or not. And that was the game changer. I remember pondering that thought. I don't even remember which book I read it in, but
it could have been Power of Now. That's what
it could have been.
It was 2013 for me when I read those words, and it was like, whoa, but it was just words. And then there was one moment where a thought, like I was chilling in my room, and a thought came like, oh, I need to go make dinner. And I could see it for the first time, like, whoa, I'm watching that. I could, for the first time, step back. And it was obvious, that there's some space there. And then those words came to life. Like you said, it's an experience as opposed to you just heard this is the case and we want to believe it's the case, but to know that's a beautiful freedom.
Yeah, it is freeing, but it's a strange phenomenon. You know what I mean? Because there are some thoughts that serve us that we're like, yeah, that's me. Our ego wants to take control of that and say that, oh yeah, that's me. That's a great thought. That's a great idea. And then there's others you're like, well, where did you come from? It's like the angel and devil on your shoulder, and you only want to disown the bad thoughts.
Exactly.
So it's a strange phenomenon.
That's very true. Actually, I forget what pastor I was listening to, but he said that Jesus wasn't dealing with the devil out there when he was in the wilderness. It was his thoughts. It was his own doubt, that he was struggling with. And I'm like, that's all of us.
Wow.
That's all of us. And you can choose to listen and believe, or you can say, get behind me and get thee behind me.
And you know, the devil is not like, I don't think of the devil as a person. The devil is, or I don't even really, I guess it is a spirit, but it's not a spirit outside of us. We all have good and evil in us.
Yes, we all have that capability. Yeah.
We have the propensity. Our free will can take us to either side at any given moment. We have good thoughts, we have evil thoughts. We have lustful, greedy thoughts, or worldly thoughts, and that's how evil can manifest. If you don't control those thoughts and how you behave on them, then you can become an evil person.
Yes.
It's not that you were, the way the Holy Ghost works, the way is the same way, it's really choices.
Yes. Moment to moment. Choices.
Moment to moment. Yes. Thought to thought. Like, we all have the propensity to be good or be evil. Nothing jumps inside. Possession is what I was trying to say. It's not a possession. Yes. Exactly. It's not a possession. We possess ourselves.
Exactly.
It's what are we possessed by?
Yes.
Is it
are
money?
We possessed by anger? Right. By greed.
Anger. Is it fear? Is it whatever that is? Like, we all have some, and we'll all encounter these choices. We'll all have them. It's really it's interesting, because I used to think growing up, like, the devil is a being
Mm-hmm.
And he's way over there. Like, stay away from me. And people say, get behind me, Satan. And
Yeah.
We're putting him all these places, but he's here. He's here.
Inside.
He's what we look at. He's what we read. He's what we consume, you know, as buyers or our TVs and our phones. And like, he's always lurking right there. He ain't far. He ain't on the other side of the world where we like to put him.
Oh yeah, no, it's potential, like you said, in all of us. Yeah, no, I know. You could say it. You know, it doesn't. It's
the same way God, source, whatever you want to call.
It's poetic when you say
entity.
he. It feels poetic when you say, like, I'm holding his hand, or he is where I am. But it works as well.
God is in all of us. The same. It's the same. It's like, I mean, I believe that there are levels in every person, but it's just based upon the choices and experiences of that person. So how much God do you acknowledge within yourself?
Exactly. So it's not even like, it's almost like it doesn't grow in your experience. You give it more and more of your attention. And then the prayer that I've had for the last several years is replace me. You know, like it feels like for a while, Nikki, and I know it's weird, I'm talking in third person, but I do that a lot when I'm dealing with like enlightenment. So Nikki is aware of a presence of love, of God. Yes. And that was very comforting for a period of time in my journey. And maybe about a year, it felt like there were two, me and God. And then at some point, there was just the presence. And the presence was almost overshadowing not just me, but the scene that was on view. You know, so love was just getting louder and louder and louder. So right now I see my face and I see your face and I see the room that I'm in and the lights and the mic, but I feel love. So it's like, I feel God, I feel the kingdom where all of this is appearing. And that has been very transformative in the way I meet people and approach people, because I don't see them as just people. You know, it's like, oh, that's love in a costume of Keri Hilson.
I love the costume and the form. I call it the address.
I love that.
Like,
what's your address?
And it's fun to have curb appeal.
Yes, honey.
That's fun. But I'm like you. I see inside. You know, I see, like, well, how do I feel? How does my energy? I'm much more aware of what's beyond the address. What's inside of that home? Is it furnished or is it empty?
I love that.
Is it beautiful?
Are the lights on?
Is it ratchet? Are the lights even on?
Right. Are the lights
bill
on?
even paid? Like.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any water running in this thing, but I kind of feel like I go inside and I have to control the amount of times that I allow, or the amount of people that I allow in my life, because I will dive deeply into them. And so I love my tribe. They're beautiful and they mirror me back to me. And through the experience of them.
Exactly.
You know, everything that I see and learn and hear and experience with them, I'm seeing and learning and experiencing myself as well, you know, through them. So it's really it's really neat. This whole thing, like this whole experience of life, I think the death of my father has really, really, really brought me to, like, this is really like kind of the Matrix. Like, we can really just, like, we can have it how we want it.
Absolutely.
You know, and of course we're all meant to go through challenges and tests, and we're meant to ascend, and we are supposed to overcome certain things and not be stuck in these cycles of the same lesson, and you know, but it's just
echoes, the reruns,
the echoes, with different faces or different
different costumes,
different costumes. You know, especially when you're talking about love, but even when you're talking about experiences, like we can repeat so many different things.
Yes. Going
back to poverty or going back to whatever that is for you.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't know. Losing my father has really, really, really just made me, because I feel him.
I was going to say, you look like you're in a very powerful place. Like, in spite of everything you've been through in the last, 5 months.
Has it been? It's been that long? Yeah.
I know. I just had to think hard when I said 5. Like,
yeah, I was like, oh gosh, we're already. Yeah, I was thinking too.
Yeah.
This has been a year, but I'm. It's as if when he transitioned, he put a battery in my back.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way I could describe it. There's just a driving force that's just like, hey, all this stuff you used to value, all this stuff that you felt defined you, that's not you.
No.
It's not necessary. It's nice to have,
Yes.
but the things that used to matter just don't matter. Luxuries are fading by the minute.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I'm purging so much of my closets and so much of my home. You know, it's like,
and it feels good, right?
It does. It feels good. That stuff doesn't matter.
No.
Doesn't matter. All that matters now is like loving and serving the world, humanity, feeling like one among millions in a global togetherness. You know what I mean? Like this
helping alleviate suffering in our own little ways. I watch you on social. You are light, embodied. And I can see what you're doing on your platform, providing that positivity for people.
I try.
I
try to make it palatable, but I do try.
It's hard. It's hard, because these are deep topics to just share with the masses. It's kind of scary to do that.
Yeah, and it can be. It's a very vulnerable thing for me because I live by these things that I talk about.
It's like getting naked in public when you're out there telling them what you feel and what you know. It's scary.
And people crucify what they can't grasp.
Absolutely.
What they don't understand or can't grasp, they will crucify.
Yes.
And so it's, I just have to, I'm very careful with how I share, what I share. And when I feel the light and I feel compelled to say something, I just make it very palatable and relatable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it might awaken someone who is maybe not
already ready there too. Yeah.
Yeah. Or already there. Yeah.
They can see what you're saying, without you even having to say the words. They can just feel the light from the post. I wrote with a filter is what I called it from about 2013 until 2018. I shared what I'm sharing with you now, but in a very, it was a way that I was very mindful that my audience was mostly Black women that were Christian, and like very traditional Christian. And I wanted to share because just like with the natural hair movement, in that movement, I wanted to help women find their self-confidence and their love for their hair, for their skin. And then with this, I want them to experience that freedom. And so I've just shifted into sharing. And some people have come along with me, some people haven't. But the ones that need this are the ones that are tuned in. And the ones that are going to be helped by you will find you for sure.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And it's okay. Like we can be multifaceted. We can serve many because we are capable of serving many plates at a time.
Exactly. Or you can serve up beauty tips because you clearly got that on lock, and you can serve up inner beauty tips.
Yeah. I don't know. I think we all have many gifts, and we are meant to tap in and serve them all or as many as we possibly can. And that's okay to do. We don't have to put everything. Like I thought of music in that way, like, I've got to put my whole life into that. And I may not ever be capable of doing anything else. And I grow into womanhood and I'm like, oh no, I'm a lot of woman. I can serve all of this. You know what I mean? We don't have to compartmentalize. We can compartmentalize ourselves. And I don't mean that in one compartment. I mean like in our facets, you know what I mean?
Yes.
We can live in those facets and find the comfort in, sharing it all, doing it all, being it all.
Yes. Yes. Being. That's a beautiful word. What do you think of everything that you've done, let's say since 2011? Since 2011, what has been the most like impactful practice or habit that you've established that's kind of anchored you in this power, in the centeredness that you found?
I'll call it meditation. I would say it's meditation. I hadn't discovered it probably until 2015. It was 2015. I went on a spiritual retreat
Ah,
And
where to?
Arizona. No,
Nice.
the first one, I take that back. The first one was San Diego.
Really?
Yes.
What was the name of it? Do you remember?
It didn't have a name because I was going to visit someone with a friend who has a very who has a very deep awareness. He actually does he does retreats, but this one was like our personal retreat. Yeah. So he does the retreat. Yeah. So I went to Arizona a couple times after that, but the first encounter with this person was in San Diego. So that was the first time that I learned or I knew about meditation, but you know, it's not something in Decatur, Georgia, anybody does. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't anything that I grew up having any wherewithal about. So I'd say it was meditation that really, really allowed me to connect dots.
Yes.
That's what it does for me. It allows me to step out.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it allows me to, I don't know why my nose always runs when I'm nervous. I'm not nervous, but whenever I'm talking and doing things like this, even backstage, before I go on stage, my nose starts to like run.
Really?
I get cold. My nose is cold to the touch and it starts to run. It's so weird.
That's cool. That's a superpower.
I don't know what's happening, but I'm cold. Only my nose.
That's so funny.
But it allows me to kind of step away from self, I guess, from the body.
Yes.
And I don't have the words, you know, I'm not super studied on spirituality. I think I'm just one that has lived and learned and tried and failed and succeeded and overcome. And you know what I mean? I think of myself as my own. I'm no one's guru. I'm not that. I'm not a scholar. I don't remember half the books that I've touched or the authors.
But you have the only thing that matters, and that is the experience. And that's what all the books and all the scholars, you could read the Bible backwards and forwards and read all the other spiritual texts backwards and forwards. But unless you've had what you are trying to put into words that none of us can, we all try. And sometimes we can relate to some people's words like more than others. But it's the experience. You've got it.
I mean, listen, I'm grateful for it. You know, it's allowed me freedom, peace, calm, you know, faith, belief, and all those things. But yeah, it was meditation.
Can you feel that peace even when you're not formally meditating? Like even when you are, you know, going about your day, like loading the dishwasher. Yeah.
If you do it enough, it just becomes a part of your way of being.
Right.
You know, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. I know there's something called a walking meditation, but there are times when I'm not intending for it to be a walking meditation. And I find myself free and in the moment. And it's just or driving even, you know what I mean? And it's just like, it's just the same outcome as intentful meditation.
Yeah, totally. No, that's it. And I've read a lot of books. That's like what Spine likes to do, but all of the teachers say that same thing. And people that I meet that are kind of like into spirituality, like trendy, you know, like they're just doing it because everybody's doing it. It's not about meditating so you can get better at meditating, you know, or doing yoga so you can get better at holding poses in weird positions. It's actually about finding this and then carrying it with you like you're doing through like your day and letting it empower and smooth out your life experience.
It's the gift that keeps on giving.
Exactly.
It unfolds and unravels things for you, unties things, and you're meant to like. It's the journey. It's the process. You're learning how to untie and untether anywhere.
Yes.
Find that through yoga, through meditation, whatever your practices are, you are meant to utilize that I don't want to say process, but that formula, I guess. Anywhere.
Yeah. It's like you
So,
said, like it's an untying or a detangling of the I am, the presence, that love from this form, right? From the body. And that's the more you sit and you are aware of that, the more you can be walking up the steps. And it's obvious that you're aware of that form walking up steps, you know, and it's a beautiful way to be human and also aware of that higher, that transcendent dimension as well.
yes.
Yeah. So I want to know, go ahead. What'd you say?
No, I was just gonna say the more you dial in, I call it dialing in.
Yeah.
I think of it really like I'm dialing here, you know, I'm ready to listen back to the universe. I'm dialing, but the more you dial in, yeah, it's just, it's a state that you are allowing and beckoning. That was
when
it.
you said dialing in, that made me think for you, like, let's say you were out of it for a moment, like, you know, something pulled you out for a second. What does it feel like when you're turning back to it? Is it is it even something you can put into words? Like when you remember and you go back to that state of being, that true state, your natural state.
I like that you said the word remember, because sometimes it really is just like, wait, I don't have to be in this confusion or disarray.
Chaos.
Like, I just remembered that I have the tools to kind of climb out of what's happening or whatever. I don't know. What does that feel like? What does that feel like when I remember? I guess it is kind of like I'm just plugging back in. I feel like an electric cord and just like,
I like that. Then you just let yourself get full again, right?
Yeah, I need that charge, that electricity, you know, and it's like that. It's really freeing. It's really filling is what I mean.
Yes. For me, it's like a listening for a feeling. So I will, like, literally, like right now, like I'll kind of like tilt my head a little and I can hear silence. I become aware of silence outside and inside. And then in that silence, like a love bubbles up or rolls in like a fog into my experience. Like that's the best way I can describe it. And then it's just a matter of, it's like an oscillation between back into normal consciousness and then back into the presence and the awareness of that love, and trying to stay there. But it's like a listening for a feeling.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. We have a listener question. Are you game to take a question?
Sure.
Awesome. We're going to check the New Growth hotline. And if any of you out there have questions for me and the guests that we have here on New Growth, you can call 321-285-9367 and leave us a message. I'm going to play this one.
My name is Whitney and I have a question. My commitment to unconditional love has caused major shifts in my life that have felt at times painful and uncomfortable. I recently supported my significant other in a cross-country move that ultimately led to us going our separate ways. What's your advice on how I can continue on a path of unconditional love without the fear of losing everything in the process? Thank you.
You want to take a stab at it first? Whitney. Thank you, Whitney, for that question.
Yeah. I feel like I'm confused by her definition of unconditional love. And I say that not judgmentally, but just I think loving unconditionally does mean releasing those who don't need us at that time.
Yes.
And your commitment to loving someone who doesn't need you at that time does not serve you. And you can never, it's almost like going down with the ship. You know what I mean? Like you cannot be so committed to another human that you will commit to pain and confusion and let's just name all the others, disrespect or disregard for who you are. And, you know, so I don't think I want to love so unconditionally. My love has conditions. You will respect me. You will be attentive and show affection and be expressive and communicate. And you will respect my needs, and I will do the same. I'm not asking for anything that's not reciprocal that I wouldn't give. But yeah, I'm not going down with someone's ship in the name of love. No. You know what I mean? I've allowed it. I've been there.
I think we all have.
Yeah. But we're not designed to do that. That person is a lesson. And maybe the concept of unconditional love is really about loving yourself.
Amen.
Maybe it's not so much about finding it outside of yourself. So that way, any love that you experience can be joyful, even if it doesn't last, even if it ends in pain, because my unconditional love is with myself. And I know that I'm not afraid to be alone. I'm not afraid to be single and solo. And this is just a piece of my journey, and there will be other loves. So I think we have to kind of restructure what people told us is unconditional love.
I completely agree with you. Completely agree. I see love as, like you said, I don't see love necessarily the way I used to. So things have changed dramatically. I see love as objectless. I see it as a state. So there is love. And then when I look out from that state of love, I love you. I could love the mirror that's in this room, but it's loving. It's not like a romantic love. It's just love is when I'm aware of it. So I could love that man from a distance. I could love the essence of him without needing him here if it's causing turmoil unnecessarily to this human. If I don't like the way love is manifesting in that form, it can go over there.
And I will find it in a form that is more compatible with my heart. And
like you said,
life.
That reflects you more purely.
That
right?
reflects, yes.
Yeah. It's hard because it's like, we can't give you advice, Whitney. You already know deep down what it is that you are supposed to do here. And it's just about finding the courage to make that choice for you, whichever way that is. It's about finding the courage, and you find that courage in that felt faith, that felt experience of centeredness and power, love, source, God, whatever you want to call it, but rooting in that and allowing that to unfold your next move.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm going to let you go soon. I have one last question. Okay. I want to know what is on your nightstand? What's next to your bed?
I'm in my bedroom. Let's see. I've got my crystals.
Nice. What kind?
Oh, I've got everything. But the biggest one that is sitting there is a rose quartz.
I knew you were going to say that. I could feel it. I knew it was coming.
Of course.
Yes.
And that's for self-love. That's the way that, I love myself. And I've got candles.
Yeah.
Currently I've got lots of candles just because it's quarantine and I don't care about what it looks like. I just kind of filled both of my, I love scents. I'm really, really big on scents. What's
your favorite?
My soul. I don't have a favorite. I love them all.
You love them all. I love lavender.
I like currants. I like florals. I like woodsy. I like citrus sometimes, or the blends of, I truly have a love for like scents.
Nice.
I like incense. I like my Palo Santo. I like if I receive roses, I'll I'll dry them out and I'll like burn the roses. Like,
oh my gosh, I never thought to do that. That's awesome.
Yeah. I have this little smudge jar. I could almost reach it, but it's right there.
That is really cool.
Yeah, and I'll just take old flowers and just burn. It smells so amazing.
This
in a Palo Santo kind of way,
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Candles. I've got my books over there. a book on chakras. My current books go on my bedstand. So it's a book on chakras. There's one called Personal Power Through Awareness. Emotional intelligence.
Yes.
And then I found a new way to journal. So there's a book called, wish I could read it. The Book of Me.
Nice.
And it's like a memoir. It's like a do-it-yourself memoir.
Yeah.
And so you write your life. It prompts you with certain questions in certain areas, and you can write yours. So if ever, I have children, or, you know, whenever I leave this earth, someone would find that and learn all about me, you know.
I love that. How far are you into it, into your autobiography?
I think I've only written, this one is new. I've gotten it just, I guess it's been a month now.
Okay.
I think I've only filled out maybe 3 or 4 entries. I call them entries, but questions. So, yeah.
I love that.
I think that's everything by my bed. Water.
Yes, need that. Speaking of which, water, tell us what, and I promise this is the last question. Your skin, what do you do? Like, what's your nighttime routine?
I don't have a regimen. I don't, I know people like want to hear you do some miraculous things. Everything I use is from the drugstore. Wow. I just, I mean, I'll try other things and, you know, occasionally, but there's no like real routine. Like I literally, I just wash my makeup
never
off.
Learned how to age, and you are awesome because you look flawless.
I will say this, like I will open my pores with hot water before I cleanse.
Yeah.
I always cleanse before I sleep, no matter what.
Yeah.
And I was saying, I open my pores with hot water. You open your pores to kind of release and scrub and clean out. And then I seal them. My last rinse I do with very, very cold water to close back my pores and keep that. So I guess that could be a secret, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe, but water works wonders on for everyone's skin.
That is so
It's
true.
just that, yeah, I think that would be the main secret is water. I mean,
I heard Lucille Ball said she would dunk her face like in ice, like literally ice water, like for her last step. So that's interesting that you've arrived.
Wow.
I should.
Oh yeah. And when I'm feeling a little like I look sleepy, I'll drink a whole lot of water. But then I'll also put 2 spoons. I put my spoons in my freezer and I lay them under my eyes.
Ooh, I need some of that action. That's good. It feels good too, it sounds like.
It feels amazing. It really does. Just make sure you don't have any water on dampness because they'll stick and it will kind of hurt like you have. But yeah, that's another secret. You just take your super cold spoons and that helps you out there.
I love that. Absolutely
helps to keep the blood flowing.
You are so amazing, Miss Keri David. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of New Growth.
Thank you for having me. Speaking of new growth, which is funny, it's like I've been playing with my curls. I know I'm talking to Curly Nikki. Yeah. This is the first time people will ever see me in my curls.
For real? It looks like so good on you that I just assume that this is like your hair natural.
No, I never do this. I've been playing with my natural hair, trying to figure out my curls. Sometimes I do twists, sometimes I do wash and go. But this whole quarantine, I've been rediscovering my hair in its natural state. Because normally I'll just wash and get it blow dried and get it braided down and put a wig on.
I was going to say, braids is what I see you
I love braids. Yeah. I love braids. I'm lazy.
You see this? I bought this, honey. And I'm braiding my hair down and crochet these on top. And this
is super cute. You can do it yourself?
I do not have that black girl card where you braid like cornrow. I never learned. My mom braided it and then recrochet. I did learn how to crochet together on YouTube. Just I guess it was last weekend. It was easy. It took an hour and a half. Boholocks.com. It was an impulse buy on Facebook, and I bought it in March, and they sat in my closet. And finally, because I was so tired, you'll see with curly hair, you never know what it's going to turn out like, even if you do the exact same thing and use the same products. Sometimes it looks kind of weird on camera, So, and there's so many Zoom calls. I'm like, I need a solution so I can focus on work instead of my hair. And so I text my mom one morning early, like, we going to do hair today? And I'm sorry, but we have to learn a new skill. And it was not hard at all.
Yeah, an hour and a half isn't bad. I take longer than that just dealing with this. Like
the hardest part was the front. So I left like 10 single braids, like plaits out in the front. And then you're supposed to kind of wrap those, and my braids are exposed. If I get close to this camera, you can see. But the back, it's just my hair is like cornrowed. And then we just,
Wow.
And they're so loose and they're so light. Now they were long. I cut them to give them like kind of a bob. I like bob.
Yeah.
But they have every color. You can do whatever you want. And whenever you're ready to take a break from that gorgeous natural hair.
Listen, just the process of doing a 2-strand twist.
Girl.
I don't think I'm going to be doing all of after the detangle. Sometimes I'm just ready to just throw it up in a poof.
Yep.
And just keep it moving, or if I feel like going through the extra process of twisting, because I have to put the stuff on my hair anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've got to finger comb and do all that. So sometimes I'm like, all right, just twist it up because it'll last longer, and I can I can rock the twist for a couple of days because no one sees me. But yeah, so
and you can put on a cute like bonnet or like a what do you call it? What are the little hats? I can't even think of the word. You know what I'm talking about? Like a beanie. You can put on a beanie.
Yeah.
I used to do that all the time.
They have the silk line beanies now.
Yeah. You can do that.
Yes.
Rock
but
that.
I've been wearing head wraps.
Nice. Very
I don't know if you've seen
like
on my
queenly.
Yeah, I've been wearing the head wraps just to keep the moisture there.
Yeah.
When I go outside, the pollen, and to keep my hair, it keeps my hair clean.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the first interview.
Shut up. Well, I am honored.
The public will see.
I am honored.
We'll see my this going on.
Girl, you have
I'm a little
so
hair
much,
shy though.
You are not. You have so much confidence that I didn't even think about you wearing your hair natural for it didn't even cross my mind. You look like a seasoned, confident natural. Your hair is
all
beautiful.
Right. I'm a new curly girl. I'm a new curly girl.
I can see that curl definition too. You got it. You're doing it right. Thank you so much, Ms. Hilson, for joining us on New Growth. I appreciate your time and your candor and your sharing of your inner growth, your new growth, both your hair and spiritually. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I enjoyed the talk. I love this pure energy.
Yes. And thank you all so much for joining us from home. And I'll be back next month with another episode. Talk to you soon.